So I'm hoping this isn't a joke call, but it is a pretty funny introduction. So hey, Mickey, how are you?
Hey, I'm sorry if it's funny to you, but I don't think that discrimination against a minority class is funny at all.
No, but I mean, gays are born gays and nudists are born nude. Does have a little bit of a funny ring to it. Nudists being born nude.
I mean,
that's what I mean. I don't think the concept is funny. I thought the way the words sounded together was kind of funny.
Yeah, it's funny to people who isn't affected to, but that's just me. But I wanted to talk about that more or less. And I just wanted to say that, do you think that it's because of religion that we have this heavy prejudice against nudist people? Or do you think that we would have a natural prejudice against them despite religion?
I'm not sure about that. I know nudity was pretty commonplace before the Victorian era, and I'm not sure what it was in that time period that made people all of a sudden think nudity was a bad thing. I'm not sure if it was religion or something else, but it could certainly be used to say that nudist people were bad. I could totally see that. Jim?
Yeah, I think when we look at clothing through the years, and depending on where you are, you're going to see a wide variety of clothing options, mostly dependent on the weather conditions that the people live in, right? So I could see a culture being anti-nudist because to be a nudist is to court death at a much higher risk level than that culture may be willing to accept. So that's a possibility, like if it's super cold or super hot deserts. So that could definitely be a thing. And that may also be what influenced religion in some ways, not to mention the mores on sex and women being more covered up than men. Those kinds of things happen too from religion. But I think it would be more that if it was a cultural taboo, it would be based more on where you lived and the weather conditions, things like that, rather than religious based. So Eskimos probably would be less nudist than, say, Apache Indians living in the desert Southwest. And you take, North American Indians living in Montana might be less nudist than the Apaches, or people closer to the equator, right? There's an interesting phenomena regarding time that I'm kind of extrapolating from, where the farther north from the equator and the farther south you move from the equator, but mostly to the farther north because that's where more people are, you have a more emphasis on time being important. You have to be on time because you have less time to get everything you need together to survive the winter. And so time becomes very, very important in the northern latitudes, where in the southern latitudes, it really, really doesn't matter. So in Germany, the trains have to run on time because time is important. And in Italy, they can run when they want to, because you don't have to worry about getting the crops in. You don't have to worry about having all the wood chopped. So if we extrapolate for this idea to clothing, I think you can do the same thing, that various cultures in warmer climates would be more nudist as opposed to cultures in northern climates. And then I think we can see that in kind of the dress of North Americans, possibly the Chinese. I don't know enough about Chinese fashion to actually guess that, but also technology to build clothes also comes into play as well. So cotton versus silk versus other natural fibers or skins, as the case may be. So I don't know. It's an interesting question to think about, but I think it would definitely be less of a hard taboo where we're putting people in jail, maybe a softer taboo, just because it is based on, if you go out naked, you're going to freeze to death, or if you go out naked, you're going to burn to a crisp. So I think, like Saudi Arabia they go more covered than Native Americans in the desert Southwest, but the Middle East is also hotter and drier. So I don't know.
So, are you one of those people that would support like nudist rights based on like the weather or where you live at? Like, if you live in Florida or California, I don't think you have to worry about freezing to death.
Yeah, I would. If you live in Montana and want to go out in the nude, more power to you. Just don't cause other people to have to risk their lives to save yours because you were being an idiot. I'm not a fan of that. But yeah, if you want to run around nude in the snow, go for it. Just like I said, don't cause an incident that's going to cause other people to risk their lives to save yours. I think that would be the bridge too far for me. Same thing with the sun, right? When I lived in Phoenix, we had people who tried to climb Camelback all the time, and they didn't take enough water, and so they'd get life flighted off the mountain. It's not terribly risky, so it's not a huge deal. But if you go walking out into some places, you can, and fall, you could definitely create a problem where people have to risk their lives. That's why Phoenix actually, if you drive into a place that has, when it's flooding, that has too much water in it, and it says don't drive through this when flooded, and you do, you pay for the rescue effort to save your butt because you were stupid. You drove someplace you shouldn't have. Those kinds of things I'm in favor of. But other than that, I don't really care what you wear or don't wear.
Well, could I add, like, a lot of stupid people don't have money, so you're just going to be chasing after like a pocket with holes in it. Like, a lot of stupid people, they don't have money or nothing, so they don't care if you sue them. But I moreover wanted to clarify. So you're okay with like nudist rights as long as if they get in trouble for expressing their rights, it's their fault. Like,
well, getting themselves into trouble, not getting themselves into trouble, putting themselves in a rescue situation where the rescue situation puts the rescuers at risk themselves. So in most cases, we get a helicopter out. It's a low risk thing. No big deal. But if you're like scuba diving is one of those things where if you get in trouble under the water, people are going to risk their lives to try and save you. And that's not a good thing. So it really is where a rescuer is going to risk their own life to save yours or to attempt to retrieve your body. That's the default. So it's not just trouble, right? It's life-threatening trouble in a situation that causes rescuers to also put their lives at risk. So it's a little bit more than just in trouble.
Let me just clarify, like, if you go outside, like, butt naked and stuff like that, like, at worst, you might, like, freeze. But if you're just continuously, like, being active, like you're running, you're jumping, because I'm in the military, and they make us go outside with shorts on, and it's like 20 degrees, but we feel hot as hell. You know why? Because they make us run.
Right. No, I was in the military everywhere. Too. No. So you're not. So again, you're not in a life-threatening situation, where rescuing you from that situation puts the rescuer at risk. That's the condition. That's where I would say no, don't do that. Which is why Phoenix, charges you to rescue you when you decide to drive through a flooded area. Is because you're putting resources at risk. You're putting people at risk to rescue you in a flooded situation. Fast-moving, deep water is risky no matter what. Even if you're in full scuba gear, you're still putting people at risk doing that. And you're also taking resources away from other people who need it, who may be more life-threatened than you. So there's a whole bunch of things that happen with that. And that's kind of why I draw the line at that, right? It's when you start doing things where you have to be rescued and maybe even impact people who need to be rescued through no fault of their own. But that's the line, right? Risking your life in a situation where that situation risks rescuer lives. So that's pretty much, and that leaves you pretty wide open to all kinds of things, right? You want to go run naked through minus 30 degree weather? Okay. you want to go into a cave naked, nude, and put people at risk because you decided to go deep into a cave that you weren't ready for because you didn't have the right protective gear. Well, that's a whole different situation, right? Now you're putting rescuers at risk.
Yeah, I understand that, and let me debunk a lot of like opinions that a lot of people bring up to me when I'm talking about nudist rights. Like people, when you're talking about nudist rights, people are like, okay, I wouldn't want somebody to like go outside butt naked and freeze to death. Okay, fine. What if somebody had a all plastic uniform, which is see-through, but it's plastic, so it keeps their body heat intact in their body. And then you see their faces like glow up to think, what else can they do to like discriminate against this minority? Because I read somewhere that 15% of like people in America are nudists, are practicing nudists. And I'm thinking to myself, in the future, like there's definitely going to be a nudist like movement where we all get together and we're like, okay, you cannot push us back into the closet. Like we have a right to exist, because it all started. I know that like a little bit of the nudist like movement was when women were breastfeeding, and a lot of times they wouldn't allow women breastfeed in restaurants because they said that that's showing too much flesh.
Mm-hmm.
But now
a lot of that comes from the Christian idea that women are responsible for men's thoughts, right? Which is completely bullshit. No, like I said, I don't have a problem with.
Yeah.
Can I add? It's not even a Christian idea. Christ said that if your eye causes you to sin, pull it out. He doesn't say if your eye looks at a woman's chest, pull her breast out because she's causing you to sin. It's all on you. It's all on you.
Well, again, the Bible is multiple guests, and I would just like to stick to the nudity side of things. And no, I don't think either Kelley or I have a problem with people wanting to walk around nude. Like I said, and my caveat is regardless of whether you're wearing clothes or not. I don't really care if you're wearing clothes or not. Don't put yourself in a position where people rescuing you have to risk their lives to do so if you could possibly avoid it. Take the right precautions. So, no,
Amen.
I don't think...
whether you're wearing clothes or not, don't be in that position.
Amen. Okay.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I need to... I said, amen. Thank you. I agree with what you said. Everything you said.
Do you?
I agree wholeheartedly.
Do you think there's been a movement? Do you think there's been a movement amongst people already to see nudity be more accepted in this country? I know that some cities have nudist bike rallies. I mean,
underground movement. I know in Canada, women could actually walk around with their breast out just like men. You know how men can walk around without their shirt? Women can walk around without their shirt. They can have their tits out and stuff like that. And you got the same people who cry about seeing gay people. They're like, ew. They're the same people who see nudist people, when the fact is that if you're growing up in America, you've seen a naked body. If you had a younger brother or sister, you had to change them. You've seen their naked body. It's the same body, just larger parts. Like, get over it. So do you feel like there's some type of correlation between the discrimination of LGBT people, non-binary people, asexual people, trans people, and the nudist community?
Well, everybody you just mentioned, we know we can trace those folks to their DNA and look at and that's a problem. I'm not 100% convinced we could say the same type of thing as nudity, right? Because there's very good reasons to wear clothes that have nothing to do with modesty, right? Have everything to do with protection from the elements. So I'm not 100% sure we're in the same boat, because I think that nudity is probably more of a choice than being in the LGBTQIA community. There is no choice there. That is the way you are. It's the way you were born. And I would need to be convinced that nudity falls into that same category. And I don't know that it does.
Here's what a lot of people will say, not to cut you off or nothing. Here's what a lot of people will say. You could be born with the preference, but if you act on it, that's the choice. And here's the thing. You're born naked. 99% of all creatures on this earth is naked. It's only humans who decided to call being naked, being natural, a sin.
Well, we're also hairless apes, and as such, we're more susceptible to climate, sun, cold, and the weather than we are anything else. We've also used clothes to adapt ourselves into situations where we're not exactly the best at surviving. So, people just recently survived minus 30 degrees. Why did they do that? Because they have the proper clothes to walk around outside and be safe, and housing too. So clothing's an adaptation that we make, that's part of our tool use that makes us unique, is the tool use. And clothes are definitely a tool to do that. So this is why I say I don't necessarily agree that being a nudist is the same thing as being in the LGBTQIA community. Because yes, we're born naked, and yes, kids prefer to be naked and will often, streak through things because that's the way they prefer it. But there's also, clothes are a tool to use. And I don't see nobody chooses to be gay, right? So, and I don't see that in the same way. I don't see being gay as a tool. Clothes are a tool. So they're just not, they don't seem to me to be on the same footing. Now, they both have prejudices, yes, that are unrealistic and kind of silly and religious based. Yes, they do. So on that footing, in terms of being discriminated against simply because, hey, it's warm enough out and I feel like going topless and I'm a woman and I can't, that makes sense to me. Or if you want to go and wear almost nothing, wear nothing. So yes, in that respect, they're kind of the same. I don't think the discrimination is nearly as bad because you have nudist beaches. We have nudist beaches. You can go to Austin, Texas, and there's a nudist beach there near the lake. There's nudist beaches all over the place. I'm unaware of any beach that is declared just for LGBTQIA folks. So can you tell me which beach?
They have beaches in San Francisco that were gay beaches. It doesn't really come to mind. But I want to circle back to
they were designated by the local government to be gay beaches, like they do with nudist beaches.
Hold on. I would say no, but I don't know if any local governments say that this beach is designated to be a nudist beach. And if you come on this beach with clothes, we're going to arrest you. We're going to kick you out. I don't know any government that does that. Do you know a government that does that?
No, I'm completely flabbergasted by the concept.
To make here is... Yeah, the point I'm trying to make is that you say there's nude beaches or there's gay beaches, but we have nude beaches that have been designated by our local governments to be nude beaches, right? If you want to be nude, you can't do it on this beach, but you can go over there and do it on that beach, right? We actually have legal designations for nudist beaches, but excuse me. But we don't have something like that for gay beaches. And that's what I'm saying is the difference. It's not the same. Well, and when you say, well, that's like a gay beach over there, maybe the people who go to that beach have decided to kind of all go to that beach, right? But that doesn't mean
Well,
that beach
that's-
is legally a gay beach.
Well, that has more to do with segregation. That has more to do with the idea that, okay, we're going to allow these nudist peasants to have their own beach. Nobody has to be like, okay, no gays allowed here on this beach, because there's no way to enforce that. There is to enforce if you're a nudist. They could be like, oh, I can spot you. You're a nudist. Get out. There hasn't been a beach to my recent memory that's like no gays allowed. If you have an example of that, please provide. And I'm talking about in
We're
America.
not saying that there is. We've never made the claim that there is a beach that says no gays allowed, right? And that's not even our point. My point is that LGBTQIA is in a different category than nudist. Nudist is more of a choice than being LGBTQ. Being LGBTQIA is not a choice. Being a nudist is.
Okay, could I?
I don't know of any case. You would have to go back and show me some evidence that is directly related to DNA and not just a choice to, hey, I like being nude. I mean, to me, that's like saying, hey, I like ice cream, right? It's a preference.
Can you cite me a gay gene then if it's not a choice?
No, we have not been able to trace it that far. However, there is no indication that it is a choice. Nobody would, nobody would choose to be gay if they couldn't because of all the backlash. But yes, it is not a choice, right? So,
Can I say that there's a lot of things nobody would choose to do, but they still do it. Like there's been people who's been let out of prison who has like probably gene problems, and they sexually.
Yeah, and that's a whole different topic though, because I don't think prison, the way that we currently do prison works. I think it's a really, really bad idea. So yeah, there are genetic issues with that. So this is one of those things where, again, you're going to have to prove that people don't have a choice to accept to be nudist. Right. You're going to have to do the same thing
I mean, could I bring up issues like the fact that there's stuff like gay for pay, or there's stuff like political lesbianism, where people literally choose to have gay sex for monetary, political reasons. There's people who
that has completely tangential to what we're talking about. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about, right? People can choose to do all kinds of things for money and have chosen to do all kinds of things for money. That has nothing to do, this has nothing to do with what you're talking about. It's completely a non sequitur and completely useless to support your position.
No. You're saying that people don't choose to be gay, but I'm pointing examples of people choosing to be gay. Political lesbianism.
If they're not, just because somebody chooses to have gay sex for money doesn't make them gay, right? So doesn't make them gay just because of that. You could be straight, decide you could make more money in gay porn and go do gay porn and still be straight. That has nothing to do with it. You're completely off base on this.
Bisexual.
No, because it's what your preference is.
Bisexual.
Nikki, you mentioned sin earlier, that it was a sin to walk around naked, or some people would think that it was a sin to walk around naked. What do you think about sin? Are you a theist that you believe sin is a real thing?
Can I ask you something? Can I ask the host something? I don't know your name. If I have sex with you and I don't like it, and
I want you to answer my question first. Okay. I want you to answer my question first.
Tell me the question.
You need me to ask it again? You mentioned sin earlier. What is your take on sin? Are you a theist and you a Christian, say, and think that sin is a real thing?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so now let me ask you one more question. Was this whole thing about nudity just to call up and talk about gay and trans people?
No, because not everything. I have gay friends, I have nudist friends, I have people in both lifestyles. So I didn't want to really talk about that. I just wanted to talk about exclusively nudist.
That's something that's something that usually that's something that a bigot would say, right? Well, I have black friends. Well, I have Asian friends. I have gay friends, right? So that when you say something like that, that's kind of triggering for a lot of people, right? So that's not what I asked you. What I asked you was, did you call up with the nudity thing so you could talk about gay and trans people?
No, I did not. I wanted to exclusively talk about nudist people.
Okay. Well, we've talked about nudist people.
Okay,
We're
so
okay,
why
and
did
we
you bring
support
up
people.
why did you bring up gay and trans people then?
Can I say something? If I wanted to talk about gay and trans people, I would call transatlantic. Not
You were the one that brought it up.
Male.
You were the one that brought it up. We didn't. You brought it up.
I mean, you could have just let it slide, and we could have just talked about nudist people if you want. I'm sorry, but
we could have, but you didn't let it slide. You were the one that brought up other people. You were.
I mean,
that's why I'm asking you. And it seems to me that it was just like you were using this as a way to show that one thing might not be the other thing, or that one thing was so ridiculous that the other thing was as ridiculous as well. That's what it seems like. I'm trying to nail this down.
Hold on. Do you think that my nudist friend's lifestyle is ridiculous?
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. And the fact that you're not listening to me and responding with an answer like that kind of makes me think that I'm on the right track here.
I'm autistic. It's hard for me to pay attention. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, what I'm asking is, like you called up to talk about nudity, and then you bring up gay and trans people, and then you say, well, I was happy to talk about nudity. We didn't have to talk about gay and trans people, but Jim didn't bring it up. I didn't bring it up. You brought it up, and you said some pretty nasty things about gay and trans people.
Hold on. Let's just switch it. Instead of gay and trans people, let's say nudists are born nude and African Americans are born black. Are you okay with that one?
I don't understand. I don't understand why you're trying to change the subject right now, because I'm trying to get to a point here.
No.
And it seems to me that you're trying to run away from the reason that you might have called here.
Hold on.
Yeah, you're going on to things that again make absolutely no sense to compare to, right? And it seems like you're just making these comparisons either so you can soundbite us, or simply because you're a bigot and you want to talk about bigoted things. I'm not really sure which it is. So anyway,
you're a bigot.
What do you think, Kelley?
My duck says that if it walks like a bigot and it talks like a bigot, it's probably not a duck.
Yeah.
Do you want to respond to that?
I don't think you should. I think we should just go ahead.
We'll just go ahead and drop that call. I think is probably the best way to handle that. All right. Well, sorry about that, everyone.
I thought that'd be a little more interesting. I had to stop that
because I thought now we're not only being now are we not only being bigoted against trans people and gay people, but it sounded like he was going to start being racist as well.
Right. Yeah. And again, you need to show that being a nudist is at the same level has the same causes as skin color and being LGBTQIA. It just doesn't work that way. I don't think. It doesn't seem to me. Now, there may be something in there that says, yeah, but the fact of the matter is we just don't see that at right now at all. And no, we don't have a problem with people being nude. Wear what you want or don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with nudity. I don't have a problem with people fighting for nude rights. I really honestly don't have that at all. So